Weddings are meant to celebrate family. It's about two families uniting as one. However, on my wedding day, as I scanned the room, I realized that not a single member of my family was present. I'm Valeria Sutton, 28 years old. Dressed in my white gown next to Ethan, I cut into our wedding cake, beaming for the guests and the cameras, while inside, I felt a profound emptiness. My friends and new in-laws cheered, but my family, the ones who raised me, were nowhere to be seen. Then, my phone buzzed in my hand. A message from my mom read, "We need to talk now." Below it, there were 36 missed calls. My stomach sank with a mix of fear and curiosity. Before we dive in, please share where you're tuning in from. And if you've ever felt let down by your family, you know it stings when those closest to you cause the most pain. Right. To grasp why my family chose to skip my wedding, I need to take you back to the beginning. I grew up in what seemed like a typical suburban home in Ohio with my parents, Nathaniel and Eliza Sutton, and my younger sister, Harper. From the outside, we appeared to be the quintessential American family, complete with matching Christmas sweaters and yearly beach trips. Yet, behind closed doors, I often felt like the emotional outcast of the family. Harper, 3 years my junior, might as well have been a princess from the moment she was born. With her natural blonde curls, charming smile, and vibrant personality, she was the beloved sunshine child. She took ballet lessons, played the violin, and had an irresistible charm that attracted everyone. I never envied her looks or talents. What truly hurt was the stark contrast in how our parents treated us. Mom, I got accepted into the advanced science program. I announced one evening during my sophomore year of high school, clutching the congratulatory letter. Mom briefly glanced up from assisting Harper with her dance costume. "That's nice, honey. Just put the letter on the counter for Dad to see later." However, when Harper secured third place in a local dance competition that same week, our parents treated us all to a celebratory dinner. They ordered champagne for themselves and raised a toast to our little star. I sat quietly, pushing food around my plate, pondering why my accomplishments received nothing more than a fleeting acknowledgement. This wasn't a one-time occurrence. It was a recurring theme throughout my childhood. I excelled in math and science, earning scholarships and academic accolades, yet my successes were consistently eclipsed by whatever Harper was up to at the time. My parents even missed my high school graduation because Harper had a recital on the same day. "You understand, right? This is crucial for her future," Mom explained when I voiced my disappointment. I did understand, but that didn't lessen the sting. By the time I started college, I had come to terms with my position in the family hierarchy. I began to call home less often, knowing that conversations would inevitably turn to Harper's latest achievements. I created my own life, made friends who appreciated me, and concentrated on my education and future career in biomedical engineering. During my senior year of college, when I graduated with the highest honors, my parents assured me they would attend the ceremony. I reserved 4 seats in the auditorium, 2 for them, 1 for Harper, and 1 for my best friend, Selah. On the morning of graduation, I received a text from my mother. "Harper got a call back for a major audition. We need to drive her to New York. So proud of you, though. Take pictures." That day, only Selah's seat was occupied. Selah became the family I chose. We met during freshman orientation and instantly connected. She was studying psychology, insightful and empathetic in ways my family never was. After graduation, we both landed jobs in Boston and shared an apartment for 3 years. She witnessed my struggles with my family dynamics firsthand, comforting me through tears after particularly tough holiday visits or unanswered phone calls on my birthday. I first met Ethan Bryant at a birthday party for a mutual friend when I was 26 years old. He was tall, had warm brown eyes, and a laugh that could light up the room. On our third date, I opened up to him about my family situation, anticipating the usual sympathetic yet awkward response I often got when sharing such stories. To my surprise, Ethan reached across the table and took my hand. That is not normal or okay, Valeria. You deserve better from those who are meant to love you unconditionally. No one had ever validated my feelings so directly before. For years, I had questioned whether I was being overly sensitive or selfish for wanting more attention. Ethan helped me realize that my pain was valid and that the dynamics within my family were truly unhealthy. As our relationship deepened, Ethan encouraged me to establish boundaries with my family. You cannot change them, he would say, but you can change how you respond to them. He recommended that I talk to a therapist, which I eventually did. Dr. Winters helped me grasp the idea of emotional neglect and how it had influenced my self-worth and relationships. I started to practice what Dr. Winters referred to as radical acceptance of my family's limitations. I adjusted my expectations to align with reality instead of holding on to the hope for the parental love and acknowledgement I had longed for my entire life. It was a painful yet freeing experience. I stopped seeking their approval and instead concentrated on creating a life that brought me joy. Ethan became my support, my advocate, and my safe haven. His family embraced me warmly from the very first visit to their home in Connecticut. His mother, Linda, would call me often just to chat. His father, Henry, shared articles about scientific advancements he thought I might find interesting. His sister, Olivia, turned into the sibling bond one had always desired with Harper. "You are part of our family now," Linda told me during my second visit. "And in this family, we celebrate everyone's achievements, both big and small." That night, I found myself in the guest bathroom, tears streaming down my face, overwhelmed by a kindness that felt so unfamiliar. Ethan discovered me there and embraced me silently, fully grasping the meaning behind my tears. With the help of therapy, Ethan's unwavering support, and my own resolve, I promised myself to stop gauging my worth based on my family's inability to recognize it. I was determined to cultivate happiness on my own terms and, most importantly, to break this cycle if I ever had children. Little did I realize how much my commitment would be challenged when Ethan and I chose to marry. On our 2-year anniversary, Ethan proposed at the quaint independent movie theater where we had our first date. Suddenly, the film paused, and a personalized trailer began to play, showcasing photos and videos of our journey together, all set to our favorite song. When the lights came back on, Ethan was down on one knee, presenting a simple yet elegant diamond ring. "Valeria Sutton, you are the strongest, kindest, most brilliant woman I have ever known. Will you marry me?" Through a mix of tears and laughter, I accepted as the entire theater erupted in applause. It was perfect, thoughtful, and so quintessentially Ethan. Later that night, as we toasted with champagne in our apartment, anxiety started to creep in. I knew I had to inform my family. "They will be happy for you," Ethan reassured me, though the slight hesitation in his voice revealed his own doubts. The next day, I called my parents, my stomach churning as the phone rang. My mother picked up on the 4th ring. "Hi, Mom. I have some news. Ethan proposed last night, and I said, yes, we are engaged." The pause felt just a beat too long before she replied, "Oh, that is good. Congratulations." There was no excitement, no questions about the proposal or the ring, and no suggestion to celebrate. We were considering a spring wedding, perhaps in 6 months. I kept trying to spark some enthusiasm. "That is quite soon." "Well, let us know the details when you have them." Another pause. "Harper has just landed the lead role in a local theater production, by the way. We are absolutely thrilled for her." And just like that, my engagement was once again overshadowed. Despite the lukewarm reaction, Ethan and I moved forward with our wedding plans. We opted for a small ceremony at a lovely historic venue in Cambridge, inviting around 60 guests. I wanted something that felt intimate and meaningful rather than extravagant. We chose flowers, including lilies and hydrangeas, selected a caterer from a small family-owned restaurant known for its amazing Mediterranean cuisine, and found a photographer whose portfolio perfectly captured the candid, joyful moments we wanted to cherish. Every choice we made felt right, as if we were crafting something that truly represented us as a couple. For months before the wedding, we sent out invitations, including ones to my parents, Harper, and a few extended family members. Weeks went by without any RSVP from my family. I finally called my mother, trying to keep the anxiety out of my voice. "Did you receive the invitation, Mom? The venue needs a final head count soon." "Yes, we got it. Your father and I have been meaning to call you about that. We will try to make it, of course, but you know how busy things can get." "It is my wedding day," I said, my voice strained. "I would really like you all to be there." "Of course, honey, we will do our best." Each following conversation followed the same pattern. They would promise to attend but find excuses not to help with any preparations or engage in pre-wedding activities. When I asked if my father would like to participate in the traditional father-daughter dance, he mumbled something about needing to check his schedule. Throughout all of this, Selah was my saving grace. She embraced the role of maid of honor with such enthusiasm and dedication that it made up for my family's indifference. She organized a beautiful bridal shower, assisted me in shopping for my dress, and listened patiently during my tearful venting sessions. "They will come around," she reassured me. "And if they don't, I will be right there beside you the entire time. You are not alone, Valeria." Ethan's family also stepped up in remarkable ways. His mother volunteered to assist with the seating arrangements and favors. His father was eager to help with the expenses, even though we had originally intended to cover everything ourselves. Olivia organized a separate bridal shower for me with Ethan's extended family, which made me feel genuinely welcomed into their group. Meanwhile, my relationship with my own family became increasingly strained. My calls home were met with distracted conversations and hasty excuses to end the call. Harper seldom replied to my texts, saying she was extremely busy with auditions and other commitments. I tried to convince myself that it was just the usual pre-wedding stress making me overly sensitive, but deep down, I sensed that something was wrong. Nevertheless, I held on to hope. Despite years of letdowns, a part of me believed that my wedding day would be different. Surely, this time they would be there for me both physically and emotionally. This milestone would finally be significant enough to deserve their full attention and support. With Selah by my side as my maid of honor and Ethan's steadfast support, I continued with our plans. I was determined to create a beautiful day, regardless of my family's level of involvement. I chose to concentrate on the people who were there for me rather than those who might not be. "Your wedding will be perfect because it is about you and Ethan," Selah reminded me. "Everything else is just details." I held on to those words like a lifeline as the day drew near, never imagining how dramatically my family would prove me wrong. 2 weeks before my wedding, I was scrolling through Instagram during my lunch break when my thumb froze over a photo that made my heart skip a beat. It was Harper, smiling brightly at the camera, her left hand prominently displayed to show off a large diamond ring. The caption read, "He asked." I said, "Yes, number engaged. Number future Mrs. Williams." I stared at the screen, unable to comprehend what I was seeing. Harper was engaged to Patrick Williams, the guy she had been seeing for just 6 months, and no one thought to inform me. The comments were overflowing with congratulations, including several from my parents. My mother had written, "So thrilled for my beautiful baby girl. Can't wait to celebrate this weekend." My hands trembling, I called my mother right away. She picked up on the second ring, sounding cheerful until she recognized it was me. "Valeria, is everything all right? I'm a bit busy at the moment." "Harper is engaged?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. A pause. "Oh, you saw the post?" "Yes, Patrick proposed last weekend. It was incredibly romantic. He took her to that vineyard upstate." "And why did no one tell me?" I interrupted. "Well, sweetheart, you've been so caught up with your own wedding plans. We didn't want to disturb you." Something in her tone felt off. I pressed on. "Mom, what's this about celebrating this weekend? My wedding is in 2 weeks. Another longer pause. Harper is having a small engagement party on Saturday. Just family and close friends. This Saturday, my stomach sank. But that is my wedding day. Is it? Oh dear. I thought your wedding was the next weekend. Her voice sounded feigned confusion. Harper has had this date set for her party for a while now. How could she have arranged it weeks ago when she just got engaged last weekend? I asked, logic slicing through my shock. Well, they knew they were getting engaged. They just made it official. Recently, my mother hedged. Then her tone shifted to an annoyingly reasonable one. Honey, would it be possible for you and Ethan to change the date? We've already put down deposits for Harper's party and everyone has made plans. The request was so outrageous, so painful that for a moment I was speechless. Reschedule my entire wedding with all the vendors booked and guests invited because my sister chose to have her engagement party on the same day? No, Mom, we cannot reschedule our wedding. We have 60 people coming. Contracts signed, everything arranged. Well, she sighed as if I were the unreasonable one. I guess we will need to come up with a solution. But you know how crucial this is for Harper. She has been dreaming about this engagement for months. And I have been organizing my wedding for 6 months, I said, my voice rising despite my attempts to remain calm. You all RSVP'd? Yes. Dad is meant to walk me down the aisle. We will try to attend part of your ceremony, she suggested, as if proposing a compromise. Perhaps we can divide our time between both events. I ended the call shortly after, too stunned and hurt to keep the conversation going. Immediately, I called Selah, who expressed the right amount of outrage on my behalf. That is ridiculous, she exclaimed. They cannot expect you to share your wedding day or, even worse, reschedule it for an engagement party. An engagement party? Not even her actual wedding. What should I do? I asked, holding back tears at my desk. Nothing. You do absolutely nothing except have your beautiful wedding as planned. If they choose Harper's party over your wedding, that is their choice, not yours. And I promise you, Valeria, I will be right there with you the entire day. You will not be alone. Ethan was equally supportive when I told him that evening, although I noticed the anger flash in his eyes before he controlled it for my sake. Your family is making a choice, he said gently. And it is a poor one that reflects on them, not on you. Our wedding will be amazing because we will be surrounded by people who truly love and support us. But what if none of my family comes? I asked, expressing my deepest fear. Then we will still get married, still celebrate, and still start our life together, he said firmly. My family will be there, our friends will be there, and most importantly, we will be there, promising to be each other's family for the rest of our lives. I tried to find comfort in his words, but the pain of potential abandonment by my entire family on what should be one of the happiest days of my life was overwhelming. That night, I cried in Ethan's embrace until I had no tears left, grieving not only for their probable absence at my wedding but also for the family bond one had always desired but never experienced. The following day, I sent a text to Harper directly. Congratulations on your engagement. I wish you had informed me personally. Is there any chance you could change the date of your party? I would really love for you to attend my wedding. Hours later, I received her reply. Thanks. Sorry, everything is already arranged for the party. Perhaps you could come for a little while after your reception. It's going to be amazing. The casual indifference, the utter lack of acknowledgement that I could barely make it to her engagement party during my own wedding reception was the last straw. I chose not to reply. In the days that followed, I got a few more messages from my mother, each one making it clearer that they had opted for Harper's celebration over my wedding. The final message read, "We will try to stop by your ceremony if we can break away from the setup for Harper's party. Hope you understand. Family comes first. Family comes first." The irony of that statement was not lost on me. To them, Harper was family. It seemed, was not. The day before my wedding came, filled with a flurry of last-minute details and the rehearsal set for 5 in the evening. I hadn't heard from my family in 3 days, despite leaving several voicemails asking if they would at least come to the rehearsal and dinner. The historic venue looked stunning as Ethan and I arrived early to meet with the coordinator. The late afternoon sunlight poured through the tall windows, highlighting the polished wooden floors and the simple floral arrangements we had selected. It should have been a perfect, thrilling moment. "Your family hasn't arrived yet," the coordinator inquired as the scheduled start time drew near. "They might be running late," I lied, the taste of bitterness lingering on my tongue. Ethan squeezed my hand as we watched his family arrive one by one, all smiling and filled with excitement. His mother embraced me tightly. Ethan's father proudly patted him on the back, while Olivia quickly started snapping photos to capture every moment of the weekend. At 5:30, with no sign of my family yet, we decided to start the rehearsal without them. The officiant, a college friend, led us through the ceremony with a blend of warmth and humor. Ethan's 12-year-old cousin practiced his ring-bearer role with such exaggerated seriousness that it made everyone chuckle. Everything was beautiful, except for the noticeable absence on my side of the aisle. As we wrapped up, my phone buzzed with a text message. I took it out, hoping against hope it was my family letting me know they were on their way. Instead, it was my mother, busy getting ready for Harper's party tomorrow. "Good luck with the rehearsal. Love you." I quickly shoved the phone back into my pocket, determined to hide how much that casual dismissal stung. But Ethan could read me too well. "They are not coming, are they?" he asked softly as we made our way to the restaurant for the rehearsal dinner. "No," I replied, surprised at how steady my voice was. "They are busy preparing for Harper's party." His jaw tightened, but he simply nodded and said, "Their loss." The rehearsal dinner took place at an Italian restaurant just a few blocks from the venue. Ethan's parents had booked a private room adorned with white roses and candles. Each seat at the long table was marked with place cards, including those for my missing family members. I managed to get through the appetizers before excusing myself to the restroom, where I leaned against the sink and took deep breaths to hold back the tears that threatened to spill. This was meant to be a joyful occasion, and I refused to let my family's decisions spoil it entirely. When I returned, I noticed Linda had taken away the empty place cards for my family and rearranged the seating to fill the gaps. She gave me a small smile and a wink, and I felt a wave of gratitude for her kindness. The dinner continued with toasts, stories, and laughter. If anyone noticed my occasional forced smile or distant gaze, they kindly chose not to mention it. Selah sat next to me, her presence a constant source of comfort as she effortlessly charmed Ethan's relatives and kept the conversations flowing whenever I fell silent. "Tomorrow will be perfect," she assured me as we got ready to leave. "I will be at your hotel at 9 o'clock in the morning with coffee and breakfast. We will get your hair and makeup done, get you into that stunning dress, and make you the most beautiful bride Boston has ever seen." I hugged her tightly. "I don't know what I would do without you." "You will never have to find out," she promised. Back at the hotel, Ethan kissed me goodnight before heading off to stay with his best man, following the tradition of not seeing each other before the wedding. "This time tomorrow, we will be husband and wife," he said. "Nothing else matters." Alone in my hotel room, I allowed myself one last attempt to reach out to my family. I called my father's number, my heart racing as it rang. "Hello," he sounded distracted. "Dad, it's Valeria. I just wanted to check if you are still planning to come tomorrow to walk me down the aisle." A long pause followed. "Valeria, I'm sorry. Your mother needs me to help with Harper's party. There's so much to do, and you know how important this is to your sister." "More important than your oldest daughter's wedding?" I asked, my voice breaking despite my best efforts. "That's not fair. We didn't realize the dates would conflict." "There is no conflict, Dad. You chose. I couldn't hide the bitterness in my voice. I'm sorry you feel that way, he replied stiffly. I hope you have a nice wedding. The call ended, and I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. No more tears came. I felt hollow, empty, as if something had finally broken inside me that could never be fixed. My phone chimed with a text from Selah. Just checking in. How are you feeling, bride-to-be? I managed to respond. I'm okay. Looking forward to seeing you in the morning. Her response was prompt. I truly apologize for this, but something urgent has arisen. It's a family emergency. I may arrive a bit late, but I assure you I will be there before the ceremony. Please don't worry. A slight unease stirred in my stomach. Selah had always been straightforward before. Is everything all right? Can I assist you in any way? I replied. All is well. Just need to take care of this. Get some rest. Big day ahead. Something about her reply felt off, but I was too emotionally exhausted to delve deeper. I mindlessly scrolled through social media to distract myself, only to stop in my tracks when a new post from Harper popped up in my feed. It was a selfie of her in what appeared to be a party dress, captioned, "Final fitting for tomorrow's big day. Can't wait to celebrate with everyone who matters." The location tag caught my attention. Bellamy's Boutique, the same upscale store where Selah had mentioned needing to run an errand earlier that week. A growing sense of dread washed over me as I tapped on the photo to see who had liked it. And there, among the names, was Selah's. Even worse, a comment from her posted just 30 minutes ago, "You look stunning. Can't wait for tomorrow." My hands trembled as I switched to Selah's profile and found a story she had posted, which she quickly deleted, but not before Instagram marked it as posted 1 hour ago. The betrayal struck me like a physical blow. My best friend, my maid of honor, the one person who promised to stand by me no matter what, was planning to attend Harper's engagement party instead of my wedding. I called her right away. The call went directly to voicemail. I texted, "I saw Harper's post and your comment. Are you going to her party instead of my wedding?" Minutes ticked by with no reply. Then finally, 3 dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared, and then I received a message, "I am so sorry, Valeria. Harper reached out and said how much it would mean to her if I could come. I thought maybe I could do both, but the timing won't work. I should have been straightforward with you. I feel awful." The betrayal was total. I switched off my phone, unable to handle any more communication. Cuddling up on the hotel bed, still in my clothes, I let the tears flow in ugly, wrenching sobs that left me gasping for air. Everyone who was meant to love me had picked Harper again, even on my wedding day. I must have cried myself to sleep because the next thing I knew, my phone was ringing and sunlight was pouring through the hotel curtains I had forgotten to shut. Drowsy, I answered without checking who was on the line. "Valeria, it's Lydia. I'm in the lobby with coffee and bagels. Can I come up?" Lydia Turner had been my roommate during my junior year in college. We had kept in touch occasionally over the years, and I had invited her to the wedding more out of nostalgia than a close friendship. I hadn't anticipated her showing up at my hotel room on the morning of my wedding. Sure, I replied, my voice still shaky from crying. Room 312. A few minutes later, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to see Lydia standing there with a cardboard tray carrying 2 coffee cups and a bag from a local bakery. "Hey, bride," she greeted cheerfully, then paused when she noticed my expression. "Whoa, are you okay?" The simple question shattered the fragile composure I had managed to maintain. To my dismay, I burst into tears again right there in the doorway. Lydia didn't hesitate. She placed the coffee and food on the nearest surface and enveloped me in a hug. Hey, it's okay. Whatever it is, we'll fix it." Between sobs, I shared everything with her, my family choosing Harper's engagement party, Selah's betrayal, how I was now without family or a maid of honor on my wedding day. When I finished, Lydia pulled back and looked me straight in the eyes. Okay, first of all, your family and Selah are terrible people right now. Second, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. If you'll have me, I would be honored to step in as your maid of honor today. You would do that? I asked, taken aback by her offer. Absolutely. What are friends for now? Enjoy this coffee while I reach out to the hair and makeup team to confirm their arrival at 9 o'clock. After that, we will ensure that your wedding day is as beautiful and meaningful as possible, no matter who is present or absent. In that moment, with Lydia taking the lead and showing me more loyalty than those I had considered closer friends, I felt a flicker of hope return. Perhaps this day could still be saved after all. Thank you, I said, gratefully accepting the coffee she offered. No need for thanks. Now, let's get you ready to marry the love of your life. The morning of my wedding day flew by in a whirlwind of activity. The hairstylist and makeup artist arrived promptly at 9, transforming my tear-streaked face into something radiant. Lydia turned out to be an outstanding stand-in maid of honor, anticipating needs I didn't even realize I had. She made me laugh with college stories I had forgotten, keeping my mind off the absence of my family. By the time I slipped into my wedding dress, a simple yet elegant design with delicate lace details, I almost felt like the bride I had always envisioned. Almost, but not entirely. The emptiness returned as I recognized that there would be no mother to assist with my veil, no father to walk me down the aisle. You look absolutely beautiful, Lydia said, helping me with the finishing touches. Ethan is going to be speechless. I managed a small smile as I gazed at my reflection in the mirror. I just wish. I know, she replied softly. But today is still your day. Concentrate on Ethan and the life you are creating together. That's what truly matters. A knock at the door broke our moment. When Lydia opened it, Henry, Ethan's father, stood there in his tuxedo, looking a bit anxious. I hope I'm not interrupting, he said, his warm eyes meeting mine. Ethan mentioned that your father, well, that he might not be here today. I wanted to offer my services if you'd like someone to walk you down the aisle. No pressure at all, just an option. The unexpected kindness brought fresh tears to my eyes. I would be honored, Henry. Thank you. He nodded, clearly emotional himself. The honor is all mine, Valeria. You have made our son happier than we have ever seen him. You are already part of our family today. Just makes it official. As we arrived at the venue, my phone remained silent. No messages from my parents, Harper, or Selah. I had known not to expect them, but the confirmation of their absence still stung. I took a deep breath and handed my phone to Lydia. Hold this for me. I do not want any distractions during the ceremony. Absolutely. And I turned the ringer off just in case. The wedding coordinator guided us to the small room where I would wait until the ceremony began. Through the window, I could see guests arriving, filling the seats on both sides of the aisle despite knowing most would remain empty on my side. 5 minutes, the coordinator announced, and suddenly the reality of what was about to happen hit me. I was getting married without my family. The mixture of joy and sadness was disorienting. Ready? Henry asked, offering his arm as the music began. I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. Walking down the aisle was surreal. I registered the smiling faces turning to watch me, heard the soft gasps and murmurs of appreciation, but everything seemed slightly out of focus until my eyes found Ethan waiting at the altar. His face when he saw me was everything I could have hoped for, a mixture of awe, love, and absolute certainty. I was vaguely aware of the empty front row on my side, the seats reserved for family that would remain unoccupied throughout the ceremony. But as Henry placed my hand in Ethan's, the pain of those absences receded, replaced by the warmth of Ethan's touch and the love shining in his eyes. You look incredible, he whispered as we turned to face the officiant. The ceremony itself was brief but meaningful. We had written our own vows, and Ethan's brought tears to my eyes and laughter from our guests. "Valeria," he started, "I vow to be your partner and equal in every aspect. I promise to celebrate your achievements as if they were my own. I will stand by you through any challenges we encounter and create a home where you always feel your worth is unquestionable. You are the strongest person I know, and I admire your resilience and grace. Today, I am not just gaining a wife but building a family with you, one where love is unconditional and support is always available. I love you, every part of you, just as you are." The reception took place in the same venue, in a beautifully adorned hall filled with twinkling lights and centerpieces of lilies and hydrangeas. Even with some notable absences, the room radiated love and joy. Ethan's extended family and our friends filled the space with laughter and conversation. If anyone noticed the bride's family was absent, they were kind enough to keep it to themselves. We shared our first dance to At Last by Etta James, gently swaying in the center of the dance floor as our guests looked on. When the song concluded, Ethan's father stepped forward to dance with me, a father-daughter moment that brought fresh tears to my eyes. "Thank you," I whispered as we glided across the floor. "For everything today." "You are family now," he simply replied. "That is what family does." The evening continued with toasts, dinner, and more dancing. I found myself truly enjoying the celebration, despite the ache that lingered beneath my smile. Ethan rarely left my side, as if he could sense when my thoughts wandered to those who had chosen not to attend. Finally, it was time to cut the cake, a three-tier creation adorned with fresh flowers that matched our centerpieces. Ethan and I stood behind it, smiling for the photographer as we positioned the knife together. "Ready?" he asked. I nodded, and we pressed the knife into the bottom tier, everyone applauding as we made the first cut. It was at that exact moment that I felt my phone vibrate in the hidden pocket of my dress. I had gotten it from Lydia during the cocktail hour, not wanting to be entirely disconnected in case of an emergency. As Ethan started slicing for our guests, I quietly checked the screen. A message from my mother. "We need to talk now." Below it, I noticed notifications for 36 missed calls, all from my mother, father, and even Harper. All within the last hour. My stomach sank. What could have possibly happened that would lead to such an urgent flood of communication after they had all but ignored me today? "Everything okay?" Ethan inquired, noticing my expression. I showed him the screen. "I do not know what to make of this." "Whatever it is can wait," he said firmly. "This is our wedding day. They made their choice earlier." Part of me agreed with him, wanting to silence my phone and keep celebrating without thinking about my family again. But another part, the part that had always wished for reconciliation, for understanding, for the family bond one had never truly experienced, made me pause. "What if something is genuinely wrong?" I asked. Ethan examined my face, then sighed. "If you want to call them back, I understand. But remember, you do not owe them your time today. This day is ours." I squeezed his hand in appreciation. "I will step outside for just a moment. If it is nothing significant, I will return right away." Finding a quiet spot in the venue's garden, I dialed my mother's number. She picked up on the first ring, her voice tearful and frantic. "Valeria." "Oh, thank God. We have been trying to reach you for hours." "I was getting married, Mom," I replied, unable to hide the sharpness in my tone. "What is so urgent?" What she said next would alter everything I thought I knew about this day, about my relationship with my family, and about the sister I had always believed simply overshadowed me in our parents' eyes. "It is Harper," my mother said, her voice cracking. "Patrick called off the engagement right in the middle of the party. He mentioned that he couldn't go through with it because Harper revealed what she did to you." I sat down on a nearby bench, trying to digest her words. "What do you mean? What did she do to me?" My mother's breathing was irregular, interrupted by sniffles. "Harper deceived us, Valeria, about everything. She intentionally planned her engagement party on your wedding day. She claimed that you had changed your wedding date and didn't bother to inform us because you didn't want us there. The world felt like it was tilting beneath me. What? She showed us messages from you stating that you wanted nothing to do with us, that you were having a private ceremony with just Ethan's family because they were your real family now. She said, you specifically asked us not to come. My hand shook as I held the phone tighter. Mom, I never sent any texts like that. I've been calling and messaging for weeks, pleading with you all to come. I realize that now, she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Patrick confronted Harper today after she made a remark about finally being the center of attention for once. When he pressed her on it, she broke down and confessed everything. She fabricated fake text conversations, deleted your actual messages from our phones when we weren't looking, and even intercepted the physical invitation you sent. I struggled to breathe, the weight of Harper's betrayal overwhelming me. But why would you think I wouldn't want you at my wedding? After all the times I called, all the voicemails I left. She had an explanation. For everything, my father's voice interrupted, and I realized I was on speakerphone. She claimed you were merely maintaining appearances, that you had told her the truth about how you really felt. We should have questioned it more. We should have reached out to you directly instead of just going through Harper. But she was so convincing, Valeria. She even cried about how hurt she was that you didn't want your own family at your wedding. The pieces were starting to fit together, but one question lingered. What about Selah? Why did she choose Harper's party over my wedding? Another paused, feeling heavy with shame. Harper informed Selah that you had asked someone else to be your maid of honor. She presented Selah with fake texts from you, claiming you had initially asked her out of obligation but had found someone you connected with better. Harper persuaded her that attending the engagement party would be preferable to facing humiliation at your wedding. I shut my eyes, remembering Selah's abrupt change of plans and her vague excuses. It all clicked into place now, in the most twisted way imaginable. Where is Harper now? I inquired, my voice surprisingly steady despite the whirlwind of emotions within me. She left after Patrick ended things. We have no idea where she went. My mother's voice trembled again. Valeria, we are truly sorry. We have completely failed you. I do not expect your forgiveness, but we needed you to know the truth. I need to process this, I replied, my mind spinning. I am in the midst of my wedding reception right now. Of course, my father responded quickly. We just couldn't wait another moment to share the truth with you. Is there any possibility we could see you tonight or tomorrow whenever you have time? The request felt surreal after everything that had transpired. My wedding day, which I had envisioned since childhood would include my family, was nearly over. They had missed the ceremony, the vows, the first dance, everything that could not be recreated. I will text you the address of our hotel, I finally said. We will be back there around 11 tonight. You can meet us in the lobby. After ending the call, I sat still, trying to grasp the enormity of Harper's betrayal and my parents' naivety. How could Harper have orchestrated something so intricate, so cruel, and how could my parents have believed her so readily without ever speaking directly to me? Valeria, Ethan's voice interrupted my thoughts. He stood a few feet away, concern etched on his face. You have been out here for almost 15 minutes. Is everything okay? I gazed up at him, my husband of only a few hours, and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for his unwavering support in my life. No, I replied truthfully. Nothing is all right, but I believe it might be someday. I shared everything with him, observing his expression change from shock to anger to disbelief as the entire story came to light. He struggled to find the right words. I honestly don't even know what to say. Harper intentionally ruined our wedding day. She manipulated everyone involved. This goes far beyond sibling rivalry or jealousy. It is sheer calculated cruelty. I informed them that we would meet at the hotel after the reception. I insisted, I need to hear them say all this to my face. I need to comprehend how they could think I would exclude them from my wedding. Ethan grasped my hands. Are you certain you want to do this tonight? We can postpone until after our honeymoon if you need more time. I shook my head. No, I need closure before we leave. I can't carry this burden for 2 weeks. Then we will confront them together, he said resolutely. Whatever you decide after hearing them out, I will fully support you. We returned to the reception where our guests hardly noticed our short absence amidst the dancing and festivities. For the rest of the evening, I went through the motions, smiling and thanking everyone for attending, dancing with Ethan and his relatives, all while my mind kept drifting back to the revelation that had completely altered my perception of my family. At 10:45, we made our exit under a cascade of rose petals. We quickly changed at the hotel and headed down to the lobby to wait for my family. My stomach was in knots, my thoughts a chaotic mix of questions and accusations. They arrived at 11:15, my parents looking worn out and red-eyed. My mother rushed toward me as soon as she spotted me, arms wide open, but halted abruptly when I instinctively took a step back. Let's find somewhere more private, Ethan suggested, pointing to a small meeting room off the lobby that the hotel had left unlocked. Once we were inside and the door was shut, the four of us stood in an uncomfortable silence until my father finally broke it. Valeria, we don't expect you to forgive us. What we did, believing Harper over you and missing your wedding, is unforgivable. But we want you to understand how deeply and truly sorry we are. Apologies don't change the fact that you missed my wedding, I replied, my voice strained. Or that you thought I would exclude my own family without even calling to ask me directly. You're right, my mother whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. There's nothing we can say to excuse our actions. We have let you down as parents, not just today, but for many years. Why was it so easy for you to believe that I wouldn't want you there? I asked, the question that had been burning inside me since the phone call. What kind of relationship did you think we had that made that believable? My parents exchanged a sorrowful glance before my father responded. The truth is, we realized we hadn't been good parents to you, Valeria. We knew we had favored Harper, made excuses for missing your significant moments, and failed to celebrate your accomplishments as we should have. When Harper told us you didn't want us at your wedding, part of us accepted it because we felt we deserved that rejection. So, you just accepted it without fighting for a relationship with me, without even trying to make things right. We were cowards, my mother confessed. It was easier to believe Harper's lie than to confront the reality of how we had failed you. And she is our daughter too, so we never thought she would lie about something so crucial. Where is Harper now? I inquired. Why isn't she here to apologize herself? We don't know, my father replied. She left after Patrick confronted her. She isn't answering our calls either. I shook my head, feeling overwhelmed by the entire situation. I can't comprehend how she could do this. We've had our problems, but this level of deceit and cruelty. I think she has always been envious of you, my mother said softly. Your intelligence, your independence, and the authentic relationships you cultivate. We pampered her, placing her at the center of our world, yet I believe deep down she yearned for what comes naturally to you, genuine connections and true achievements. Ethan, who had remained quiet until that moment, finally spoke. That might clarify her emotions, but it doesn't justify her behavior. What she did was intentional and harmful. You are correct. My father concurred. There is no justification. We enabled her actions for years by consistently yielding to her demands and outbursts. I gazed at my parents, truly observing them perhaps for the first time in my adult life. They appeared smaller, somehow diminished by their guilt and shame. Despite everything, a part of me ached for the family we could have been, the family we should have been. I cannot forgive you tonight, I finally said. I am uncertain if I can ever fully forgive you for missing my wedding. However, I am open to trying to create something new moving forward if you are genuinely committed to change." They both nodded enthusiastically, tears streaming down their faces. "Now, this means recognizing the patterns that led us here," I continued. "It involves therapy, both individually and as a family. It requires real accountability, not just for today but for years of emotional neglect." "Anything," my mother immediately responded. "We will do anything. And Harper needs professional assistance as well." I added that what she did goes beyond typical sibling rivalry. "We know," my father agreed. "Finding her the help she needs will be our top priority." We conversed for another hour. It was a painful yet necessary discussion that initiated the process of uncovering the dysfunctional patterns that had shaped our family dynamics for decades. No miraculous reconciliation took place that night. No tearful group hug that could erase years of pain. But something changed, a door opened that had been shut for far too long. As Ethan and I finally made our way to our room, emotionally exhausted yet oddly at peace, he squeezed my hand. "Are you okay?" I pondered the question carefully. "Not yet, but I believe I will be." 6 months have passed since our wedding day. Ethan and I embraced married life in our apartment, discovering the rhythms of partnership in everything we did. Our honeymoon in Greece was stunning, a much-needed getaway from the family turmoil that had loomed over our wedding. For 2 weeks, we wandered through ancient ruins, swam in crystal-clear waters, and began to heal from the events surrounding our marriage. Once we returned, the real work commenced. True to their promise, my parents had begun therapy both individually and as a couple. They proposed family therapy with me, which I reluctantly agreed to. Every Thursday evening, we met with Dr. Whitman, a family therapist who specializes in adult family dynamics and estrangement. Healing is not a straight path, Dr. Whitman reminded us during one particularly tough session. There will be both progress and setbacks. The key is to remain committed to the process. Harper reappeared 3 days after the wedding, calling my parents from a hotel room where she had been hiding, feeling ashamed and afraid to face the repercussions of her actions. They persuaded her to return home and quickly found her a therapist of her own. It took me 2 months before I was ready to meet her. We chose a neutral spot, a quiet cafe halfway between our homes. She appeared different, somehow smaller, lacking the confidence and charm that had always seemed to shine from her. "I don't know where to start," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Sorry feels so inadequate for what I did." "Why?" I asked simply. It was the question that had haunted me since that night. "Why would you go to such lengths to ruin my wedding day?" Harper gazed into her untouched coffee for a long moment before responding. "I have been seeing a therapist, and we've talked a lot about this, about why I did what I did." She took a deep breath. "The simple answer is jealousy, but it's more complicated than that." She explained how she had grown up feeling the need to be perfect, to perform in order to gain our parents' attention and approval. They publicly praised me, yet behind closed doors, they constantly compared me to you. "Why can't you be more focused like Valeria? Why can't you secure a nice, stable career like your sister?" I listened, taken aback by this revelation. "I always believed they favored you entirely." In many respects, they did, but their favoritism came with strings attached. I had to be their ideal, charming daughter. You, on the other hand, were able to be your true self. You created a genuine life filled with real friends and true achievements. I merely acted. However, that still doesn't clarify why you would undermine my wedding. Tears welled up in her eyes. When you got engaged to Ethan, I witnessed your happiness and how fulfilled your life appeared. Patrick had just proposed, but it felt empty, like another act. I yearned for what you possessed, and when I couldn't attain it, I wanted to ruin it. It was petty, cruel, and unforgivable. Yes, it was. I concurred, unwilling to downplay the damage she had inflicted. I'm not seeking forgiveness, she quickly stated. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to understand that I recognize my actions and I'm seeking help to ensure I never repeat such behavior. That initial conversation was uncomfortable and painful, but it marked a new beginning. In the months that followed, Harper continued her therapy, eventually moving out of our parents' home and starting a job as an administrative assistant, her first real job outside of entertainment or performance. My relationship with my parents gradually transformed. They made sincere efforts to understand me as I am now, not as the child they had overlooked. My mother called regularly not to discuss Harper, but to inquire about my work, my interests, and my life with Ethan. My father sent articles related to my field and posed thoughtful questions about my career. For the first time in my life, I felt acknowledged by my family. Not entirely, not perfectly, but sincerely. The wall of resentment I had constructed over the years began to show small cracks, allowing in rays of hope. Selah and I faced a much more challenging road to reconciliation. When she found out the truth about Harper's manipulation, it left her heartbroken. She sent flowers, cards, and emails, eager to explain and apologize. I ignored all of them for weeks, the betrayal still too raw and painful. Eventually, I consented to a phone call. "I should have reached out to you directly," she said, her voice heavy with regret. "I should have realized you would never just replace me without discussing it first. We've been friends for far too long for that." "Yes, you should have," I replied. "That is what hurts the most. You assumed the worst about me without even checking if it was true." "I have no justification," she confessed. "All I can say is that I'm sorry, and I will take as long as necessary to try to rebuild your trust if you allow me." Rebuilding trust is more challenging than establishing it initially. With Selah, the journey was gradual and at times painful. We began with occasional texts, then coffee once a month, slowly working our way back to something that resembled friendship. Although the easy closeness we once enjoyed remained out of reach, Lydia unexpectedly became a close friend after her last-minute rescue on my wedding day. We started meeting regularly for lunch, and she became part of our extended social circle, often joining Ethan and me for dinner or movie nights. On our first anniversary, Ethan and I chose to host a small dinner party at our apartment. Nothing extravagant, just a simple celebration with a few close friends and family. My parents arrived with a photo album they had put together, filled with pictures from my childhood and achievements they had previously overlooked. Harper also came, bringing a thoughtful gift and a quiet presence, still on her journey to discover her true self. During dinner, Ethan tapped his glass to make an announcement. He looked at me, his eyes sparkling with excitement, and I nodded, giving him the go-ahead to share our news. "We wanted to wait until today to tell everyone," he said, taking my hand. "Valeria and I are expecting. The baby is due in June." The table burst into genuine joy and congratulations. My mother shed happy tears. My father radiated pride, and Harper embraced me, softly whispering, "You are going to be an amazing mother," in my ear. Later that evening, after everyone had departed and Ethan and I were tidying up, he inquired, "Are you happy with how things are now with your family?" I pondered the question thoughtfully. "I am at peace with it," I replied sincerely. "It isn't perfect, and there are still times when the old pain resurfaces. However, we are creating something new, something healthier. That is sufficient for now." With the baby on the way, I placed a hand on my still flat stomach. I want our child to know their grandparents and aunt, but with healthy boundaries. I aim to break the cycle of favoritism and emotional neglect. Our child will never question if they are loved or if they are enough. The journey from that wedding day to now has been tough, filled with challenging conversations and painful realizations, but it has also been enlightening. I discovered that families are not fixed entities, but dynamic relationships that can grow and heal with genuine effort and accountability. I learned that sometimes the greatest gift we can give ourselves is establishing clear boundaries, demanding the respect we deserve, and being willing to walk away from relationships that consistently belittle us, even when those relationships are with family. Most importantly, I learned that forgiveness is not a one-time act, but a process. One that unfolds in its own time and cannot be hurried or forced. True forgiveness arises not from forgetting the pain, but from understanding it, processing it, and choosing to move forward with new awareness and stronger boundaries. As I look ahead, now preparing to build a family of my own with Ethan, I carry these lessons with me. I am no longer the daughter desperately seeking approval and acknowledgement from parents who could not provide it. I am a woman who understands her value, who has created a life rich in authentic love and respect, and who consciously chooses to foster relationships that reciprocate that care. Sometimes, the heart needs to shatter completely before it can mend into something more resilient. My heart broke on that day when I found myself alone at my wedding. Yet, from that fracture emerged a strength and clarity I may never have discovered otherwise. For that, despite all, I am thankful. Have you ever had to rebuild trust with someone who caused you deep pain? How did you navigate the fine line between forgiveness and safeguarding yourself from further hurt? Please share your stories in the comments below. If this narrative struck a chord with you, kindly like and subscribe for more real-life stories. Thank you for being a part of my journey. And always remember, healing isn't about wiping away the scars, but about embracing them with the understanding that you overcame something challenging and came out stronger.